Hey everybody, welcome back to Career Crash Course. I'm Erica Starke-Knight here with another What You Need to Know conversation if you're considering a career in the media industry. As you know by now, I've been in the business for over 30 years and decided to invite some of my industry friends who are at the top of their game to stop by for some real talk conversations about their profession. Today's topic, character animation and motion graphics with my special guest, Gabriel Smith, owner and founder of Anim-Nation Productions. Welcome, Gabe. So tell me a little bit about how you got interested in this industry and what made you think, I should consider a career in this.
Actually, it's kind of funny. My main first idea of what I wanted to do for a living was I just didn't want to wear a tie. That was it. So
plain and simple.
Yeah, just plain and simple. After high school, I went to North Carolina Central University, just undeclared, go Eagles. And my second year there, my roommate at the time, his name was Lance. He left to go to spring break. And you know, like your roommates, they have all these movies and their little DVD collections when DVDs was a thing. So I kind of snuck in. I was like, okay, nobody's here. My roommate's gone. I'm gonna just watch Toy Story. He had Toy Story. So I said, okay, I'm nobody gonna pick on me. So I put the movie in, but I didn't know he had the deluxe version, which had like the making of Toy Story. And I put that in by accident. And I just started watching it. And I'm like, man, these guys are doing some, really cool stuff. So I was like, wow, and nobody was wearing a tie. So so it made it better. So that's when I decided, okay, I had to go and leave Central and pursue the education to try to be an animator. But that's how I started at Central and Toy Story.
Wow. Guess we ought to thank Buzz Lightyear and Woody.
Right.
For your contributions to the industry.
Definitely have to.
So you said you left North Carolina Central and you went to a university that had this kind of curriculum. What kind of classes did you take, and would you suggest if someone's interested in pursuing this?
The classes that I took, I went to the Living Arts College, which now, before it was called the Digital Circus, but now it's called the Living Arts College in Wakefield. And they have several different courses because animation is, just like with TV and film. There's so many different parts. You can say animation, but there's so many different layers. They kind of make you take all types of classes, like maquettes, which is like sculpting. You got to do a lot of hand drawing, painting. So you have like that traditional art style. And at first, it was a little overwhelming because you have to have like a portfolio. And so I'm drawing my little hands and my shadow apples, and I'm like, oh, this is amazing. And you get there to the school, and you're like, oh, there's some really amazing artists here. And so it took me a while to later on, after taking classes like anatomy and those things, I realized that the mouse was my pen. So I didn't have to worry about drawing so much. So I didn't come from a traditional 2D, hand-drawn Disney background. I picked up the mouse and realized animation was it for me. The classes I would definitely suggest is your own personal class. Because with animation, you have to spend so much time in the software. It's really, you're not going to get it all in the classroom. So you have to spend a lot of time outside of it. And if you want to be an animator, study anatomy.
I was about to say, you said you took anatomy as in like biology anatomy?
No, so again, like it's about learning outside the course. I find that now at the time it was a specialty school, it was a private school before they became like an accredited 4-year school. So they would teach you the software, but they could teach you how to hold the pencil, but you're the artist. You have to dive into it. So they tell you, okay, this button does this. It's on you to push it to the next level and learn why and figure out how to break it so you can discover something else.
So anatomy is the software.
No, anatomy is just the study of human movement. I didn't take a class. I started studying. Like I would go to the mall. Me and my friend would go to the mall and sit in the middle of the mall and watch how people walk. I'd get up I'd shadow them. I walk around them. I pretend to walk just like them. If somebody had a waddle, I'd try not to get caught. We look crazy, but I mean, you kind of have to with animation. You have to be animated. So I would definitely recommend going into character animation to study anatomy, study why your knee bends and how it bends, and why your shoulders move just because you raise your arm just a little bit. How much does your shoulder move? So anatomy was a really big thing to help me like understand the basics of the locomotion of why something is moving. And now, if you understand how and why it moves, you can make it do whatever you want to do.
I love it. Classic, in anything that you're interested in doing, study your craft. And I would not have thought that anatomy would be a part of that. Check that out, everybody. Don't run because it's anatomy.
Right.
So what's interesting, you had sent me some pictures earlier of you with all of these things on you because you do the movements. Tell me a little bit about, outside of the computer and using the mouse, how character animation comes into play.
Oh, absolutely. I've dabbled in motion capture. I was a motion capture director and actor. Early on in my career, I was lucky enough and blessed enough to actually get hired at a company before I graduated. And they had a full on, the huge movie set motion capture system. So I was able to play in there every day. It was fun putting on the suit. I like it because it helps you develop those acting skills that you need to like put onto the character. So they actually, there's an old saying that they actually say that animators are failed actors. Like they're just actors, so they're putting all that emotion into the 3D character because like they really want to be actors on the low. So yeah, motion capture is really fun. We actually just got a motion capture suit in for our company.
Now,
so
what
I'm
is
excited to get that rolling.
I love that. Tell me what a motion suit is. Actually, tell me the name of your company and what you offer, and then what a motion suit exactly is for people who have no idea.
Oh, absolutely, yes. So my company's Anim-Nation Productions. Again, we do character animation, just all 3D animation as a whole, and also motion graphics. And with a motion capture suit, that's what it does is captures the motion of any person or a horse or anything that you put it on, and then you can transfer those motions over to a 3D character or a 3D prop or model, anything that you need to do. So pretty much what it does is record your movements.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that behind the scenes in Disney movies, etc. Or Avatar. I think the movie, you saw some behind the scenes where they've got all these things look like suction cups on them.
Absolutely. A lot of people think that that's a really like high grade piece of equipment, like technology. All those white balls you see, all it is reflective tape. That's all it is. It's just reflective tape. It's nothing like too crazy. The cameras in those systems is where the magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the light bounces off of that reflective tape and it comes back to the camera and it reads that infrared information, and then it tracks you that way. And that was a little like, that's kind of like early on in the industry. Now, there's a capability of having wireless suits or cameraless suits.
Wow.
So like that's another thing about learning on your own. You do 4 years in college, which is great. It's good because you want the experience and the basic knowledge to go get you a job. But you always have to keep learning, especially with technology, because it changes every year. There's the new thing, the next new thing, or someone else is developing something. And if you're not up on it, then you'll still be doing a slow process of, like, for example, with us animating by hand. It might take 30 minutes. No, it might take 2 days to do 30 seconds of animation. People don't understand how long it really takes. So having a motion capture suit and being up to speed with what's current in technology and what can I do to speed my process up is always a good thing.
Who are some of the people in the game in the 3D industry that you follow and get inspiration from?
To be honest with you, my previous employers, I got to I got to like shadow them in a way that I don't even know if they knew I was doing it, but
You were just peeping around the corner and checking it out.
around, just paying attention, and building a really good rapport, because there's so much you can learn. If you know mentally where you're trying to go, then always be actively studying of that person that's in that position. So I'm at these companies. This company I work for is called Vicious Cycle. And
Vicious.
Vicious Cycle, yeah, that's where we did the Kung Fu Panda game, Ben 10, and
You worked on Kung Fu Panda game?
well, yeah, the video game, yes, not the movie. I wish the movie, but yeah, it was the Kung Fu Panda Showdown for Legendary Legends. It kind of has a Smash Brothers play style, and but actually that's a great segue. So my current boss at the time, his name was Eric Peterson, and when we got the script for it in the beginning of the game, it was just supposed to be a scroll, like a little ancient scroll comes up, and it's like a storyteller, somebody's reading a story. So I looked at that and I'm like, okay,
that's boring.
Yeah, that's boring. But we didn't have a lot of time, but I didn't want to walk away with that project with just like, okay, a punch, kick. That's not really good for a demo reel. So I pitched it to him like, hey man, let me do this as a cutscene. And I knew, thinking 10 steps ahead, that I need to walk away with some Kung Fu Panda content.
Yes.
So he trusted in me, and went on ahead and did the animation, and he felt like it was so good that we flew out to DreamWorks to get them to like approve it, and talk to their directors and their team, their staff. Everybody said it was great. I mean, it was like taking that risk allowed me to get, that risk got me to DreamWorks to get that experience. But that's because I've seen Eric take risks. Wow. And another guy I work with, his name is Charlie Breakiron. He works out of his home, and so I realized I could do the same. So just those are the people that influence me, the people that are actively around me. I don't really look at like DreamWorks or Pixar. I want to be the next Pixar.
That's right. Let's put Anim-Nation on the map.
There we go.
That sounds so exciting. So video games is just one aspect of how you can, exercise your creativity in 3D. What are some other areas outside of film?
Well, this
I'm sorry, outside of video games. I'm sorry.
Right. I'd say, even though you might still consider this in the same realm, I would not put it there. I would say VR and AR. And I know some people kind of feel like that's still a video game, but there's so many practical real world uses for VR. And again, it's a space that everybody right now is like experimenting in this space. So it's good to try to jump in early while there's not a lot of, like, when MySpace did so well, it gave room to so many other social media platforms. Like, nobody talks about MySpace right no more. But when MySpace first came out, it was one of a kind. Mm-hmm. Now it spawned all of these other social media platforms that they saw what MySpace did and did it way better. And that's what made MySpace obsolete. But that's just no.
And so for people who don't know MySpace, that was the early, what would you call it? Instagram?
I would say
Facebook?
Early Facebook. Yeah. I think Facebook was just getting, like, MySpace was bigger than Facebook then at the time I'm talking about. So but yeah, like VR is a great space to utilize 3D animation. Also, if you go on more corporate route, there's also product animation.
Oh, what's that?
Like for example, I did a job with RCA where they have like a new laptop that they want to roll out, and they want to do a promo or a commercial. So what they do is they have a company like me, or they in-house will build their product, and most likely will have a 3D prototype of their product. And so they want that to be animated, broken apart, or you see in the commercials where the laptop spins up close and comes to the screen and shows you like, oh, there's 17 cameras on it, or whatever features they have on it. So product animation, because there's a difference between organic character animation and then, static mechanical animation, or, procedural animation, where you're doing like a bunch of, squares and they're all moving together, or you're taking a blob of goop and then that blob of goop turns into a person. And that's animation, just a different, different type.
Do you have a favorite? Which do you prefer?
Oh, character animation, hands down. I love like putting the emotion in the eyes and the subtle movement. It really is like you're trying to give this static character a soul.
Wow.
Like when he's on screen, when you look into the character, you have, the audience has to try to, engage and also relate to something that is not real. It doesn't exist. It's easy for another actor to do that on a TV. Not saying that acting is easy, it's not.
Right.
But the relationship is there. He's alive. He's a human. I know what a crying looks like. So to make a 3D character cry, that in turn make the audience cries. Oh, you're winning. You're winning.
Have you gotten close to that?
I think I strive for that every day, but I think I hold myself, at a very high standard. I still say, man, I got so much to learn. There's so much to do, but I keep myself like that so I can keep learning. Because if you ever get too comfortable, then you're not going to learn anymore because you think you already know it all.
Yes.
But I would say the best scene to describe what I mean is the scene in Ratatouille, where he has to tell the girl that he's talking to that, hey, it has been me cooking the whole time. It's this little rat. And when he tells her, the girl, the way she didn't say anything. It was like 5 seconds of her just looking. They had a little bit of a tear. It didn't even drop. It just held there in her eye.
Yes.
And the little quiver on the eyelash. Like, those are the things I look at, and that's like, oh, like that's masterful.
So what are some of your highlights, your career highlights? I know DreamWorks, Kung Fu Panda, that's got to be up there.
Oh, definitely. That's up there. I worked on Ben 10, Omniverse, the Dexter, Showtime. I did an iPhone game for him, for that show, for Showtime. Pac-Man, commercials, music videos.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Oh, but it's the commercial. Oh, East Coast Wings was a good one.
East Coast Wings? Can we look that up on YouTube? Where do we find that?
Oh yeah, it's an East Coast Wings football commercial. So we did Anim-Nation did do it just throughout my career. When I was working, that was one of my funnest products, because we did live action mixed with 3D animation. So the company I was working with at the time, they went out. They had somebody out and go and film on this bar, and they push the camera down the bar scene, and then they have trackers and all this, so we can convert that scene into 3D. And then I had their mascot character run across the same bar scene. So we it's kind of like that Michael Jordan, 3D and real people at the same time.
Space Jam.
Yeah, Space Jam. Thank you. I like that. But yeah, just like Space Jam, where so that was really cool for me, because that's I got to do that pretty early. So I like the little wins. At the end of the day, like just being creative, like being creating something from nothing and then getting a reaction, whether it's good or bad.
Yeah.
Is what I get out of it. I like to put it on the screen or put it out there and like, does it make you mad? Does it make you laugh? Does it make you cry? Tell me about it. Like that's what I get out of music and animation.
I love it. And it sounds like such a fantastic way to be super creative. The sky's the limit. And do you work, so I know you are a musician also. I see your guitar back there. Yeah. And you've worked with some pretty high profile names. Tell me about that. We want to know, we're going to go into rapid fire. Who is Gabriel Smith, the musician?
Gabriel Smith, the musician, is bass player, lead guitar player mostly. I used to do performances like locally, open up for a lot of major artists. And
drop names, name drop.
okay, well, name drop. Yeah, so I be trying to, I try not to,
Come
but no,
on,
I
man.
open up for Tank, Avant, Wale. I've opened up for Chemistry. I've opened up for Lettucey.
Wow. That's fun. And I know you're being modest because I see that
I
record
try.
plaque back there on the
Yeah.
wall. What is that?
It's a gold plat for doing bass and lead on Trey Songz's Chapter 5 album. It was the instrumental track called Interlude for You. It's like a little break in the album around I think it was like track 9 or 10.
Okay.
And it was kind of nice little laid back vibe. You hear the little chops in there. That's all me back there. Oh, and the cool thing about that is that song, J. Cole ended up sampling later on in a song called Headbusters. And the part that he sampled was my guitar, and he just kept looping it and kept looping it. I must have listened to that song a million times.
Okay, so does that translate into royalties for Gabriel Smith?
Not necessarily. It can at times. Sometimes it depends on what kind of deal you get.
Mm-hmm.
So in me, plus at that time being early in my music career, at like producer will get most of that, and then you can, as a musician, sometimes you're just a work for hire.
Yes.
So sometimes you just, hey, I just need a bass, and other times it's like, no, I need you to help create. So there are times where it is royalties involved, and there are times where there's not.
But how exciting is that to be able to say you're on a Trey Songz?
Oh, right. I know, absolutely.
And now,
no.
J. Cole, my man from Fayetteville, North Carolina, represent.
Right. So I'm not seeing any royalties from no J. Cole tracks. That would be awesome.
All right, you can still say that's me. That's me.
Right, that's me. Right.
So is there ever, because being a musician also requires incredible creativity and gives you the opportunity to express so much, is there ever an intersection between your music, your love for music, and your love for creating character animation and motion graphics?
Absolutely. And it took me a long time to understand that, because I fought with that for a long time. It was like Batman for me. I was living like Batman. Like during the day, I'm like nerding out, animating, motion capture suits. And then at night, I'm, this cool R&B dude, Fandoras and guitars, playing guitars behind my back and stuff. And,
Dang, I might want to ask you to do some of that for us. That'll be a different series.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so just overall, and then another thing too is I found out that it actually helped me animate better, understanding like the music side of it, and even with motion graphics, because like some people have problems with like timing and like, okay, how to make this logo like end on beat, or I want to give this element a certain feel. Sometimes I will animate what the bass or what the kick drum makes me feel like. I have an example I can show you later, but pretty much I had, it's like the way like something would bounce or vibrate, and something that I would do, like if it's an element that slides across the screen, sometimes the music helps me determine like what direction I want to go. It's the same thing with like how people see music in colors. Mm-hmm. So I started realizing like, oh man, they actually do go together way more than I thought. So that's one of the things that kind of spawned Anim-Nation Productions. We have a flagship product that we're constantly developing and building. It's called The Grind Show. I have a shirt right here.
Okay, give it up for The Grind Show.
Bet I make it rich or not. Y'all know who it is, same vision as the Wiz.
It gets so hard to sleep, 'cause the pain's so deep. And everything goes wrong. You just hold on.
Listen! Oh, shit. I know that damn music ain't on. You better turn that mess off and get to that homework like I asked you 5 minutes ago.
All right, chill, Ma. Just turn it off.
Yeah, you better turn it off, or I'ma come in there off your ass. Like the bug spray.
Yeah, it's a story, not necessarily a story. It's like more of a episodic show that we're working on. It's about these young Black kids, which I feel like there's not a lot of representation of young Black males. Mm-hmm. and so they are the star, and they're all musically inclined. But what we're really focused on is the way they interact with each other and the way they grind to get whatever they need to get done. So, Viz, he's our first character, and
I'm sorry, what's his name?
he goes by Viz. Like we give him all nicknames. So Viz is kind of like the brainstormer. His head is always in the clouds. Like, oh man, we could do this, we can go this way, but he doesn't know how to make a plan. And then we have another character, Books. He's the his nickname is Books. He's the smart one. He's got the laptop. He's hacking in your Facebook account. He knows how to make a plan, but doesn't know how to go get the resources. And then you have the other kid that's more street. His family, they're from the hood, they're a little street. So he's like, oh, I'll be back. Y'all need what? I'll be back. I'll go get it. He's the street hustler.
Don't ask any questions.
Oh, yeah, ask any questions though, right? But we gonna get it. And so I think actively we have those three, personas in our minds. I actually like how Ed and Eddie did. I don't know if you ever seen that commercial, that cartoon. So Ed and Eddie, the psychology behind that is it's actually one person. You have your three different ego types in your head. Everybody has those three different layers. So the creator of the show literally took those three layers and split them in three. So that's why you have one that's like the cocky, one that's not so bright. It's all your different sides of you. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to give like young Black kids or young Black males especially, hey, you don't have to do this there's other mediums. There's actually not a lot of Black animators. Mm-hmm. Let me rephrase that. There's not a lot of Black animators that don't do anime. I think it's cool that you can draw Goku as a Black person, but I think it's better to create a Black character. Because the medium is wide open, you can do whatever you want. So I want to see more of that, and if I can, trailblaze that and spawn somebody else's idea to do something even cooler than what I could do, then I'm all good.
Oh, I'm with you 100%. Miles Morales, hands down, is my favorite Spider-Man.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I bought my 7-year-old neighbor a Miles Morales t-shirt for his birthday yesterday.
Right.
I don't even know he likes Spider-Man. I'm like, he's a Black superhero.
Right. Absolutely. But I find that in most times in society, a lot more people relate, I feel like, to the Black male than we think. And I think that's why those movies, when they do happen, they go so big. They blow up so big. Black Panther's another great example.
Sure. So when will we get more? How do you find out more about the Grind Show? Because we're all activated now and ready. Where do we find it? When?
The Grind Show. We have some clips that we worked on YouTube, and it's on our website as well. So you can either go to Anim-Nation.com or thegrindshow3d.com.
Got it.
And, excuse me. And we have some clips on YouTube. But again, like, this is a product that we're currently like still developing. So whenever we do, we'll throw a clip out every now and then. But we're like redoing characters, environments, and we have some more adjusting to do before we start putting out more clips. But that's why we're getting the mocap suit. So our turnaround times can be faster. So way more clips coming. But there's some fun stuff up there you can already watch, and you can kind of see the direction we're going in.
Okay. Well, I'm sure some of the students watching, if they're interested, want to check that out. So they'll go to your website and YouTube. So I want to wrap up 2 more questions before we leave. This has been a great conversation. How long have you been in the industry doing this now?
14 years.
14 years.
Yes, 14 years.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known while you're in college?
What do I know now?
Related to this profession, and what you would have done differently, could have done differently, or would you keep it the same?
Just jumping into it a lot earlier. And that's kind of hard for me to say because I didn't have access to it. Like, there was no one around me that did it. Just by happenstance, I just saw this Toy Story DVD, and that's what did it for me. So it was a spark, so I loved opportunities like this and opportunities to speak to kids. I think that's really the only thing for me is I wish I got into it when I was 13. Like, mom, give me, there's free software out there now. Like before, the 3D animation was so expensive, but now there's a really cool program called Blender, and it's completely free. You can download it and you can start animating stuff or rigging stuff, or just even if you're just in there messing around, like, and you don't really know what you're doing, it's like it's a start.
Yeah.
So I think the experience before college, like you have to constantly be learning outside of the classroom. I think this pertains more to artists, just because I realized I didn't necessarily go all the way to get like a master's degree. Pixar will hire a 16, 17-year-old kid out of high school. They've done it before. So that's what made me like, okay, it's about what you can do, what your skill is. So I think that thing it would say would be the experience before.
Excellent.
And
exposure.
Exposure, yes.
That's what this is. This whole series about exposing students to all the different avenues you can go down in the media industry. So like you said, you had the spark when you saw Toy Story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love you sharing that information. And then you already told us, I was about to ask you, where should someone who's interested get started? So you mentioned Blender. That's a great way to start.
Yeah, great way to start, free. And there's, again, it's an open community. It's a community of people that are like, oh, this is cool. Look what I did yesterday. This is how I did it. Tutorials. It's wide open, and the community is very friendly. It's a nice learning. YouTube, and there's so many other like forums you can join. That's like, okay, this is for a specific type of animation or motion graphic. Those are priceless. Those are priceless, because sometimes you get a script and somebody will like, oh man, I created a script that allows you to slide your feet from one side of the screen to the next without without doing this thing. And so because you join that session, now you have this piece of tech that he's doesn't mind sharing with you, just because you were there when he made it. Like, some people just like to create things and share it as opposed to like creating and wanting to make a profit of it. And that's what keeps this animation community like really thriving. Is because there's so many other people out there that's like, oh, look what I've done, check this out.
Yes, it sounds like a great collaborative space.
Yes,
you don't have to do it on their own. Everybody has their strengths, like the crew in the Grind Show.
Right. Right.
Thank you, Gabriel, so much for joining us and sharing all of this insight with our students, your expertise. Wishing you all the best with the Grind Show.
Oh, thank you.
We'll be keeping in touch, and really appreciate you taking time out to do this.
No, thank you for having me here. I had a ball. I'm looking forward to doing it again. If you ever need me again, I'd love to do it again.
Oh, I'll call you. And thank you guys so much for joining us on this last episode of Career Crash Course. Until next time, be well.